Welcome to Sotantra education. In this lecture, we are going to discuss about the array of objects. So previously we have discussed about the arrays of primitive types. For example, arrays of integers, arrays of doubles, arrays of characters, like that. So suppose consider arrays of integers. So we want to create one array of integer and let the array name is AR. So for simplicity we are taking the array name as AR. Now how to create one array of integers? So for that we can write like this: int, then the square bracket and name of the array. So here AR, then it is equal to, or then the assignment operator, or equal to, we can write new int, then the size. Suppose for simplicity we are considering 5. So int AR equal to new int 5. So this statement creates an integer array of size 5 and AR is the name of the array, or we can say AR is a reference variable that refers to the array of integers having size 5. Or this statement can be written like this: int AR, then AR equal to new int 5. So we can write in this way in a single statement, or this single statement is equivalent to these two statements. So both are equivalent, either you can write this one or you can write this one. So in this way we can create an array of integers. Now suppose we want to create one array of objects. So we are going to follow the same formula. So before moving that, let us see how this one looks like pictorially, or what is the pictorial representation of this statement. So here AR is going to refer to this array, and here it is of size 5, 1 2 3 4 5. So its index is 0, its index is 1, it's 2 3 4, and AR refers to this one. So pictorially we can say this one is the representation of this statement or this statement. Now we are going to create one array of objects. So consider we have one class and the name of the class is person, and the person class has two instance variables, one is name, another one is age. For simplicity we are considering this two instance variables and name of the class is person. Now if we want to create one object of the person class, then we can write like this. So we can write person p1 equal to new person. So here p1 is an object of person class. Similarly we can write person p2 equal to new person. So here p2 is another object of type person or of person class. Similarly we can write person p3 equal to new person. So here p3 is another object of class person. So here we are writing P1, P2, P3. We can give any identifier name to the objects. Now instead of creating this P1, P2, P3, we can also create one array of objects of the person class. So for that, what should we write? So like the previous array of integers, we can write in this way: person, then the square bracket, then the name of the array. So assume name of the array is small person. So here capital P represents the class name and small p represents the array name, or you can give any other name. Person, this one is the name of the array, person, square bracket person equal to new, this is the class name, that is capital P, so new person, and you can write the size. For simplicity we are considering 3. So here this one is the class name, this one is the array name or name of the reference variable, and this one is the class name or name of the class, and these 3 is the size of the array. So this statement creates one array person of type person, and the array is of size 3. So this statement, this single statement can be or is equivalent to 2 statements like we have discussed earlier. So we can write this one as person and assume the name of the array is person. Now we can write person equal to new person 3. So these two statements is equivalent to this one, this single statement. Or if we write the array name as AR, so just simply remove this array name and write AR. Just simply remove this array name and write AR. Now if we write this thing, what will be the pictorial representation in memory, or we can say the pictorial representation of these 2 statements are like this: one array is created and assume the size is 3. So here AR is the array and this is at index 0, index 1, index 2, and here this index 0 can store a person object. Similarly, we can store another person object at index 1. Similarly, we can store another person object at index 2. So using these 2 statements, this array is created and this one is null, this one is null, this one is null. So why null? Because using these 2 statements, the array is created but the individual objects are not created. So we need to create the individual objects. It is not like primitive types. So in primitive types, like we have discussed here, once we create the array, the individual elements are initialized to 0, it is 0, it is 0, 0, 0, as it is of type int. Now you need to initialize these array elements. Similarly, here when you execute these two statements, the array of objects of person class has been created, but the individual elements are not created, and as it is a reference type, these elements or the array elements are initially null, and we need to create the individual elements of class person and store that objects here, or store that objects as elements, as array elements. So now we can see this one. So this is the class person, and two instance variables are there, name and age, like we have discussed. Now this one, this statement creates one array, and the size of the array is 20, and the name of the array is person. So here we have written in two statements, or you can just combine these two statements and you can write in a single statement like this: person, and the name of the array is person, and here it is small p, and in class person the p is capital. So equal to new person 20. So by executing this statement, one array is created, but the individual objects are not created. So pictorially you can see this one. So here the name of the array is referring to this array of objects, and each individual elements are null here. So here you can see it is null. So we need to create the individual elements now. So how to create the individual elements? So for that we can write like this: person of 0 equal to new person. So here we are creating one object of class person and storing that object at person of 0. Similarly, we can write person 1 equal to new person. Similarly, we can write person of 2 equal to new person. So here you can observe this is the name of the class, capital P, capital P, capital P, and here this is the name of the array, small p, small p, small p. Similarly, you can write up to 20, or you can use a loop to create individual array elements. So now we will see a program, and through that we will discuss the detailed implementation. To demonstrate the concept of array of objects, let us write a simple program. So for that, let us consider a class and assume name of the class is person, and it has two instance variables. One is name and another one is age. Now initialize this. Okay, so you can use a constructor for initialization. So here we initialize like this person, and here name equal to Raju. For simplicity, we are initializing all the objects name to Raju and all the objects age value to 20. For simplicity, we are considering this one. So you can take different values or by the help of parameterized constructor. Okay, now we have another method, that is display method. So it is going to print the value of name and age. So we can write here system dot out dot println name, and again we can write system dot out dot println age. So that means it is printing both name and age, value of the object that has called this display method. Now this is all about class person. So let us consider another class and assume the name of the class is test, and in the test class we are going to write the main method. So for that we are writing public static void main string args. Now here we are going to create one array of objects. So person, assume name of the array is AR. So for simplicity we are considering AR, or you can give any name, equal to new person, and for simplicity we are considering the size of the array is 3. Now if we write system dot out dot println AR of 0, so what will be the output? So if we write system dot out dot println AR of 0, so simply here this statement creates an array of objects, but individual objects are not created. And if we print AR of 0, so as individual objects are not created, AR of 0 contains null value because array elements are of reference types. So here just compile this program and check. Okay, no error in Java test. So it is going to display null. AR of 0 is showing null because the individual array elements are not created. Now let us create the individual array elements, like AR of 0 equal to new person. Now if we execute this statement AR of 0, so it is going to show the reference, or we can say the memory address. So here you can see person at the rate 3FEE733D. So it is showing one reference, but previously it was showing null because the individual array elements are not created at that time. Okay, now here instead of printing AR of 0, we can write AR of 0 dot display method. You can use this one. So let us save this program and execute. Okay, so here you can see it is showing Raju 20. because we are initializing the objects with Raju and 20. That means we are initializing name value to Raju and age value to 20. Similarly, we can create another object like AR of 1 equal to new person, and simply we can write AR of 1 dot display. So it is going to print Raju 20 twice. Why? Because all the objects are initialized with same value Raju 20. So here you can see one simple example to demonstrate the concept of array of objects. So here we are creating the array of objects, and then we are creating individual objects and displaying the values of individual objects. Or here we are simply writing AR of 0 dot display, AR of 0 equal to new person. You can use a loop to initialize, and you can also use a loop to display the array elements. So for simplicity we are directly writing. So now we will move to the visibility modifiers. So the visibility modifier specifies how data fields and methods in a class can be accessed from outside the class. Like we have discussed, we have suppose consider a class and name of the class is person, and here two data fields are there. Assume one is name and another one is age, and we are assuming no methods are there. Now if we want to restrict the access of these data fields, that is or that are name and age, then how to restrict, or we can say how we need to control the access of these data fields and the methods present in the person class. So here we are not considering any methods, but the visibility modifier takes care of the data fields and also the methods. Now for the access control or for the visibility modifiers, there are 4 keywords, or we can say 4 types of visibility modifiers are there. One is private, another one is public, then next one is protected and default. So first we want to discuss about private. That means if we write private here before the string name, and similarly here if we write private before int age, then this name and age are allowed to access within the class person only, and this means you cannot access the data field name and age from outside the person class. So there is no restriction about the access inside the class. So inside the class we can access each data members, that means we can access each data fields and we can also access the methods. But if we write private, that means these members cannot be accessed from outside the class person. Now Another one is public. So if we write here public, then from any class we can access these two data fields, name and age. So public means from any class you can access this. So these are accessible or these are available to public. So from any class you can access this name and age instance variables of class person. And private means outside the class person you cannot access the data members. And other two visibility modifiers, protected and default, we will discuss later. So now we will see its use through a program by writing private and public to some data members. Now let us consider we write here private and here we write public. Now when we write this one, okay, so just remove the, okay, so forget about this one. So if I write, so first create one object person p1 equal to new person. Now if I write p1 dot name equal to, I update this one to Rani. Then simply I write p1 dot display. So here you can see what is going to happen. So compile. So it is showing error. Name has private access in person. So for this statement it is showing error. Why it is showing error? Because here name is written as private. That means we cannot access this name variable outside the class person. But here outside the class person, that means in class test we are accessing the value of name. So we are writing p1 dot name equal to Rani from class test. That's why it is showing an error. So if we write here public, then it is not going to show any error. It is simply display the output. You can see no error. So it is showing Rani 20 because initially it was Raju. Now using this statement we are updating to Rani, but we are not updating the value of age. That's why it is printing 20 and the name it is showing Rani. Now let us make this one as private. So here you can see it is going to work because we are not accessing the value of age outside the class person. So this is the class person. Outside the class person we are not accessing age. So here two classes are there. Outside the class person means inside class test. So in class test we are not accessing age. So it is not going to throw an error due to the private value of age. So it is not going to throw any error. So it is printing Rani 20. Now here, so let us consider if I want p1 dot age equal to 10, if I write, or simply we write system.out.println p1.age. p1.age. So here age is private, you can see. Now here p1.age we are writing, that means it is not allowed. Now so just comment this p1.display. So it is going to throw an error. Okay, so it is throwing an error due to the private SS modifier. That means age, this age variable is private. We cannot access this age outside the class person. That means here we are writing p1.age outside class person. So we are trying to directly access the variable age from the test class. That's why it is showing an error. So this is all about the private and public and some other modifiers like protected and default we are going to discuss later.